When a security guard harassed a contractor doing his job, the worker got sweet revenge. A contractor working at a high-tech manufacturing facility learned the hard way that not everyone has a sense of humor about their job, which was the case when he met the security guard at his new work site. And when he was asked to show the security guard the last 5 photos on his phone, he assured that he would never be annoyed with that request again. 2 contractors who were doing a job for a company that manufactures high-end electronics components were happy that their job was paying them well, until they met the security guard on the site, who annoyed them every chance he could get. Their team was installing equipment in the facility for only a week, so there wasn't much time to get acquainted with the staff at the building before they moved on to their next job. Sadly, this meant being unnecessarily provoked by Chad, a security guard, with an axe to grind with one of these contractors. One day, Steve and Mike were entering the building, and because of safety protocols, they had to empty the entire contents of their pockets to be seen before being granted access into the building. Even though they went through this routine every time they entered the building, Chad was noticeably suspicious of the pair, more so than he was of other contractors doing the very same job. The security guard also made Steve and Mike show him the last 5 images on their phones to make sure that neither of them were stealing company secrets while working at the high-tech manufacturing facility, because even smuggling out a 4x6 box could contain as much as $250,000 worth of microchips. Every day, the pair obliged the security guard until they noticed a weird pattern in the security guard's behavior. When they noticed that Chad didn't make other contractors empty their pockets before entering the site, they started ribbing him by saying things like, "Thanks for keeping America safe, Paul Blart." One day the duo went out for lunch, as they usually did, and Steve told his friends that he had a plan to stop Chad from continuing to pester him every day. Mike couldn't imagine what Steve could possibly do to the security guard at a high-tech facility that wouldn't get him fired, or worse, arrested, but knowing that Steve was a jokester, he let it slide. After lunch, Steve was scrutinized as usual on his way back into the building, so before entering, he happily stated that he had to go to the bathroom. Mike was confused about why Steve was so happy to use the restroom, but he went ahead without him anyway, returning to work without his partner in crime. After Steve had left, the security guard didn't pester Mike about emptying his pockets and bag before he entered the building, proving that his suspicions were just with Steve. Luckily, Steve had an idea that would enact revenge on the security guard for his misplaced skepticism. After Steve returned from the bathroom, Chad, the security guard, as usual, asked him to empty his pockets and show him the last 5 images on his phone. Steve decided to have some fun with the security guard then, asking him, "Why, don't you trust me?" Chad replied that it was just his job to check phones and belongings, even though Steve knew that he had let others pass without checking their phones before. So Steve happily obliged by taking out his phone and opening his camera roll, but after he did so, Chad would never ask him to do that again. Steve handed Chad his phone, with his camera roll open to his most recent 5 pictures, and Chad's eyes went wide. Chad then threw the phone on the table, exclaiming, "What the heck am I looking at?" as Steve buckled over with laughter. Picking up his phone, Steve replied, "Hey man, I'm sorry, but I thought I had a hemorrhoid and I wanted to see how bad it was. Is everything okay with my pictures? Is the facility safe?" And at that point, Chad was absolutely seething with rage, having been bested by someone he had suspected to be stealing from the company he was working for. After that disgusting experience, Chad thought twice about unnecessarily checking his fellow employees without due concern, and that's not the only time that someone who was maliciously compliant got the revenge they deserved.